Hi and welcome back to War Thunder Tutorials. The recent Battle March update saw the addition of the Britain's first main battle tank, the Chieftain Mark III. In this episode, we'll take a closer look at it. In the early 50s, the British had the highly mobile Centurion tank and a much heavier and better protected Conqueror. But the Royal Engineers were not content and decided to combine the mobility of the former with the might of the latter. This is how the Chieftain was born, a 120mm gun-toting tank which could navigate cross-country as fast as its older cousins could drive only on highways. Add some of the best armor for its time and you got yourself a Chieftain. The tank proved to be a highly successful design. The British military have used the Chieftain up until the very end of the 20th century. Let's take a look at its in-game representation. If compared to its direct opponents of other nations, the Chieftain is certainly not the fastest of them. The tanks such as the T-10, the M60, and the Leopard can beat it in terms of speed, not to mention the T-54. But its maximum speed of 30 miles an hour is enough not to lag behind most of its allies in combat. Unlike most of its British compatriots, the Chieftain actually has a proper reverse gear, meaning it can always roll back into cover, and retreating with it is naturally much easier as well. The maneuverability is also decent. The tank can pivot on the spot using its neutral turn and steer predictably at full speed, while its cross-country ability is also admirable. Chieftain's 120mm gun is one of the most accurate weapons at its rank. Now, such an accurate gun sure needs a powerful shell, which it has. Actually, it has two of them, and they're both available from the very start once you unlock the tank. Those are APDS and HESH rounds. No heat shells? No problem. Just look at the armor penetration value of the APDS, 397mm of solid steel from a range of 500 meters. This shell can punch through pretty much anything and virtually from any angle. But this is not all of the good news. The gun takes just 7.5 seconds to reload. Yeah, we got ourselves a real monster here. The Chieftain has a special high-caliber coaxial machine gun designed to help you aim the main gun. Not very useful to be honest, but hey, it looks cool. Oh, and it can also be used against open-top vehicles with deadly effect. Well, now we have one more important question to answer. What about the armor? We have tested this vehicle extensively in various combat scenarios to tell you all about it. Here are tips for you. No matter what, always keep your lower front of the hull concealed. It is quite thin and also set at a poor angle. Some of the later T-34s can penetrate that portion of the otherwise mighty Brit. So always keep your hull facing the enemy. Don't try to angle the armor. It won't work with this tank. The turret has armor sections of various thickness and angling. Despite that, it does have certain vulnerabilities. Heat shells can penetrate the tank anywhere except the upper portion of the turret. Various shells of the more powerful AP type can also accomplish the same feat in certain situations, so bear that in mind. The most vulnerable spots are the left and right cheeks of the turret, and also the armor directly beneath the turret. A penetrating hit to the commander's cupola can be quite deadly, as it can kill two crewmen at once. But if you can slightly rotate the turret and move your hull a little bit, most shells can be easily made to harmlessly bounce off. So be careful and don't stay in the enemy's sights for too long. Take a shot and go back for cover for maximum effectiveness. Thankfully, the reverse gear and overall mobility of the tank are up to the task. Finally, there's one more trick to boost your survivability in a field. Have you noticed that there's a sizable ammo rack behind the weak lower front of the hull? The poor driver is literally surrounded by explosive ordnance. If you want to avoid having this rack loaded, don't ever load more than 24 shells at once. We usually go with 20 APDS and 4 HESH shells. Okay, let's sum this up. We think that the Brits were really impressed by Geronimo, the legendary leader of the Apaches, when they designed the Chieftain. It has it all, the ferocity, the mobility, and some very selective armoring, so you will have to act carefully. But once you do learn how to play it, it will be the turn of your enemies to be very, very afraid. If you're patient like a true Apache warrior and enjoy measured gameplay, this is the tank for you. This is it for this episode. We're Thunder Tutorial signing out. Geronimo!